Aloha mai kako! Welcome back to the Live Ukulele podcast. This is the first episode of season 5. That's a whole hand already. I can't believe it. This started just as kind of a COVID project, something to do. I've always loved radio and was fascinated. The very first time I went into Kappa Radio down at the Royal Kona Resort, and Kahikina showed us around the studio. It was like a homeschool group. We all went in to check out the radio station and see what was going on. I've always been fascinated by radio and recording and things like that, of course, go hand in hand with the music and all of the production that I do. So this is a wonderful opportunity for me to get out some of my radio yayas, radio gagas that I want to share, and also to involve you folks and to bring some ukulele enthusiasm to the web space, to your favorite podcasting app right there on your phone or on your computer, wherever you're listening to this. Thank you for tuning in. This is going to be a good one. Brittni Paiva is on the podcast. We caught up during the Kahilu Theater Slack Key and Ukulele Institute back in November, and it was super lovely to see her. You know, I've known Brittni forever. Brittni was kind of one of my first ukulele heroes because she was also she's older than me, but not as much older that it wasn't still like a kind of fellow youth when we were both coming up. And she was at the Waikoloa Ukulele Festival, and I was totally blown away and stoked on her music and what she had to share and her playing style. And I was a super fan and learned all of her stuff, learned to play things, and then kind of later on down the road, I kind of got to know her at Uncle Kiyoki Kahumoku's Kahumoku Ohana Music and Lifestyle Workshop. She was an instructor there. I was a student. Brittni was like the cool teacher. Uncle Herb, he was kind of like the strict guy who had his agenda to share and was, 1, 2, 3, let's go. And Brittni was always teaching, like Crazy Train and all these fun songs and different arrangements. So she was really relatable for the youth at those workshops and was always a hit. And it's been really fun to kind of watch Brittni grow up as kind of somebody who is in the circle, but not really in the circle. We never really hung out, or we're just kind of in the peer group, friends of friends kinds of things going on. And so this last November was a lovely time to hang out with Brittni, and not only Brittni, but also Jeff Peterson, Uncle Sunny Lim, and I finally got to meet Nathan Aviao. We were all instructors for the Slack Key Institute. So it was a great time. And after we had kind of had our meet and greet dinner, I stole Brittni away and we did the interview at the Kamuela Inn. So hopefully we didn't keep anybody up too late talking story, hearing some songs. But it was a lovely discussion and looking forward to sharing it with you folks. Before we do that, just want to remind you folks that all that I provide on liveukulele.com for free, the lessons, the podcasts, all of my YouTube videos, those kinds of things, they're all supported by my premium lessons, my ebooks, my video courses. And so if you like what you hear, if you appreciate it, you want to give back, check out some of those items. You can go to liveukulele.com/store and grab yourself some real top-notch ukulele learning material. I'm able to pay my bills. You get some great ukulele lessons that will help you with anything from strumming to learning how to pick for the first time to going all out crazy, as advanced as you want to go in the left-hand technique video course. It's also for beginners, also for advanced beginners, but it goes all the way up through advanced. Lots to work on there. So liveukulele.com/store. I'll put a link in the podcast description. Otherwise, easy enough to find. Just go to the website. So thanks for tuning in. This is Brittni Paiva, who I talked to back in November. Enjoy. Cool. Well, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I know we've kind of known each other
quite some time.
Sort of a long time, but never really kind of connected the whole way. But it's great to see you here.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad we could make it work. Finally.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah.
Tell me about the new song. It sounds awesome.
Thank you. Heartbeat Melody is actually kind of like the first song that first original tune that I really co-wrote with someone, and one that I've fully produced and mastered myself as well. I co-wrote it with my friend Chardonnay. She's a reggae vocalist on Oahu, and I had most of the song done already, and I feel like there was just like one element of the song that was missing. Something that I like, no matter how much I tried to write it and rewrite it and rearrange, the parts, the idea that I had, there was just something missing. So I brought her into my studio and we collabed on the song, and she kind of gave me, and this was also really her first time writing a top line, like writing music with, or like a lyrical part but without lyrics, right? Just a melody. Yeah. So her input from a vocalist point of view and my input from an ukulele player point of view worked really well together, and it's exactly what it needed to come together. So yeah, so that's Heartbeat Melody, and it's basically just, a song's like describing how your heart beats when you found that one person. And yeah, so it's just, really happy, kind of a little bit different than I think most ukulele types of music, in the sense that there's a hip hop element, right, a pop hip hop element to it. So yeah. So
it seems like, I mean, I've watched you come kind of a long ways as an artist, and the whole way you've been like, or maybe more recently, but you've been like trying to marry the more pop hip hop side of things with the ukulele, and we've kind of seen the process of you kind of figuring that out in real time. This one seems like it's really there.
Yeah.
How have you felt that? Has that progression felt like a struggle along the way, or has it always just been like what you're doing?
No, I don't think it's ever been really a struggle. It's a really wonderful challenge. Because it doesn't matter like what genre of music you play, or what instrument you play it in, but how are you going to make it work? Ukuleles naturally will sound very Hawaiian. So how are you going to not make it sound Hawaiian? How are you going to have it sound like, as if a guitar were to play the melody line? So it's a really, really fun challenge, I think, to kind of think outside the box like that.
And how do you make an ukulele sound not Hawaiian?
It's about how you're going to execute notes, the different rhythms that you play, making sure that you don't, do a down, down, up, down, up, down, that type of rhythm, adding percussive elements into what you're doing.
And so you mentioned your studio. What kind of setup is that? What parts are you putting together? You're producing the entire track beginning to end?
Top to bottom, I produced it. I did have Imo Garza do some keys because he's just better than Jacob Collier, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Imo has been a longtime friend of mine, so it was amazing to have his input on the keys as well. Just kind of, as a multi-instrumentalist, it's really easy to have the entire song sound like me. And so when you have another musician that kind of steps in and adds their style and the way that they play to your part, it's adds a whole different feel to it. So yeah, so that's great. But my studio setup is, it's going to be forever expanding until I run out of room in the room. But it's basically set up for professional production.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what kind of software are you running?
I love Logic.
You're a Logic person.
I am not a Pro Tools person. I did use Studio One for a little while, and I really liked the workflow of it. But I've always come back to Logic just because it's so easy to use.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's always interesting to see who runs what, because it does the same stuff usually.
Yeah.
But the interfaces are all so different. It seems like you arrived with a sound. I don't ever remember Brittni before you'd hear a song of yours on the radio and it sounded like Brittni.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. Not everybody has that.
Thank you.
Few people, I would say, have that at the beginning, certainly.
where do you suppose that came from? What are your influences, and were you like always trying to have a sound that was different?
I think it kind of just developed naturally. Back when I started learning ukulele, there was the Herb crowd, and then there was the Jake crowd.
Sure.
All of my friends were Jake crowd people, and I was the only one that was Herb crowd. And I just really liked, how melodic Herb's music was. So that's all of his music is what I learned and tried to emulate, in the early years of when I was playing. And over time, as I got more experienced in arranging songs for the ukulele and writing, then that's when my sound started to develop.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how far ahead of, like, I think I remember you at the Here era. Mm-hmm. That's when I first came into the loop, and it was awesome.
Thank you.
We hered you every day on Kahikina's radio show.
Ukulele Boogie.
Growing up, yeah. It was just, that was it. So it didn't take you very long to get there, mm-hmm. I don't recall. Mm-hmm. So what were you doing at that time to like speed up the process of like,
I just played. I played a lot.
Were you like one of those 11 hours a day?
Oh, yeah. I would say at minimum 6 hours a day.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I was homeschooled. I didn't really have friends that I did anything with, so I would just lock myself in my room and practice.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good tip.
So a little late now to continue doing that, but yeah, if I was able to continue practicing like that much per day, I don't know what would happen to my hands right now if I did that. So thankfully I was young when that happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. 6 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a bum.
No.
That makes most people look shabby. What does a day look like if you're not practicing for 6 hours? What does a day look like for you?
I basically wake up, wash up, drink coffee, play Animal Crossing while I'm drinking coffee, and then I go into my studio. I'm there for maybe 10 hours or so, doing different projects. And I have the best time just sitting in the studio making music.
Are you teaching?
I do teach. I do have a few students. I don't have my schedule full of students, of course. I keep, just the select few that I've been with for a while. So, yeah.
So what kind of stuff are you working on as you're, like, in the studio? Is that like personal stuff, or are you producing for other people?
I do. I've been working a lot on my personal stuff. There are a lot of songs that I'm currently writing from, the little absence that I had from performing from 2013 through early 2019. So I've been writing all of those. I do a lot of production for other artists as well. So like Ukulele MJ over in Netherlands, I've done a few of her stuff. I did work for Marlo as well. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. I do like pop music as well, like, LA pop music, which is a whole different animal of production.
So are you like trying to play songs with taxi kind of stuff?
That is my long-term goal.
Okay,
yes.
cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned, I feel out of the loop. You mentioned a couple names that I totally don't know. I'm not on social media, so
no worries.
I kind of live under a rock. Who are some people that you're excited about coming up?
I mean, definitely Marlo. She's been posting a lot of really cool things recently. She's a good friend of mine. I think she's relatively new to the ukulele scene. I would say maybe a couple years, but fantastic player. She's also currently, I think, the EDM artist Zhu, his personal assistant. So it's really cool to see how her playing is going to morph, being that she was been around, EDM for being his assistant, and also a very versatile ukulele player.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And in addition to her, anybody else?
There's one. Her name is Anastasia. I think she's been kind of on a social media break lately, but I did have the chance to meet her in, I think, January or February this year at an ukulele festival or ukulele event at Ala Moana. And she's from Alaska, and she is pretty much the only ukulele player that primarily does like tapping, harmonics, like, August Rush style of playing on the ukulele. And she's really young. I think she's still in high school. But
okay.
Yeah, so that was amazing to see.
Cool. That seems like one of the places the ukulele has not gone and is now like finally getting there.
Yeah.
Is kind of cool to see where it's moving to. I just talked to Craig and Sarah the other day, and I was asking them. The ukulele bubble has been growing and growing and growing for all these years, and we've been kind of riding the wave and able to just cruise a little bit. And then COVID changed everything. Do you see it as the interest waning, or is it just changing?
It's gotten bigger. Like the interest in the ukulele has gotten crazy huge, especially over COVID. I remember talking to Kalei and Corey and Andrew at the ukulele site, and like just they were so busy sending out ukuleles to people all over the world during COVID. Like it just exploded, and it's been so wonderful to see this instrument go even further than it's already gone. And we have sites like YouTube and apps like TikTok, and just it's everywhere. It's amazing. Yeah.
With YouTube, everybody's learning kind of in different ways. And like our generation came up, you rewind the CD until you get it.
Right.
Right. You listen and you rewind.
Yeah.
With that in mind, like I think back to certain ukulele songs that were like really kind of monumental. What do you consider the most influential and like important ukulele songs, maybe like before your time?
Gosh,
do you have any favorites?
I mean, yeah, Ota-san's Body Surfing is iconic. Troy Fernandez, On Fire. What is that other one? Guava Jam. I think those, Kavika, of course. Yeah, Peter Moon. I think those were like the biggest hits when I was picking up the ukulele for the first time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that stuff that you figured out by ear?
Yes.
As you went?
Yeah.
You had the advantage of GCEA, though. I know that James Hill has told the story before where he heard Troy Fernandez the first time and was tuned D6.
Yeah.
Like, how is this guy doing it? It's so weird. It's not right. And
Right.
Realized later it was GCEA. Cool.
Yeah.
What are you working on into the future?
I actually do a lot more production than I do performing now.
Okay.
So which is really nice. I can kind of help. I guess it's like a whole different type of satisfaction being able to help other artists, other ukulele players, other singers bring their musical dreams to fruition. And I feel like there's just so many different avenues that you can take when you're creating music in the computer, and you have access to all of these recording equipments and plugins and everything. And it's kind of like forcing my brain to go into think in terms of these instruments and how can that relate to the ukulele? How can I play like these instruments, but it's not these instruments? And so it kind of like helps bridge the gap in terms of creativity.
Okay. So are you playing out?
I do, yes, yeah. I don't have any regular gigs, but I think I'm doing the Denver Ukulele Festival next year.
Cool.
So that'll be fun. So I do performances. I think I'm pretty much selective to the ones that I want to do, also depending on my production schedule too.
Right.
But it's been fun working with other ukulele players around the world and kind of bringing my style into what they're doing. And yeah.
You're talking with Jeff about being in Japan?
Yeah, we were in Japan, I think 2015.
Oh, so a while
yeah,
back.
It was a while back, but we did a couple shows and it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Those timeless tour stories.
Oh yeah, I have the best time just sitting there and listening to all of their stories, and yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah, especially Uncle Sonny, and I've never met Nathan before, really. I mean, I've like seen him play and shook his hand, but he's really more of a storyteller than I expected.
Yeah, he's a really good storyteller. So he just he takes you right to that story, and you can accurately see what's happening, and it's stupid and it's hilarious.
And what I don't understand is how these guys tour so much and they have so many gigs under their belts, and they like remember every single one.
I don't know. I feel like when I'm on tour, I'm just kind of in like this blur of like I know what I'm doing at that moment. but I also have ADHD. So like there's time blindness. So when I go on tour, it's like, okay, I get there. Okay, I'm going home. And there's nothing else is happening in between.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just the rush.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. What do you recommend? Let's take a different tack. Do you listen back on old recordings of yourself and hear things that bother you?
All the time. So my girlfriend loves to listen to my music.
Oh, no.
And so if I go on a trip and I come back, like she'll pick me up at the airport and my stuff's playing. And so, yeah. So it's just, my entire discography on shuffle. And when it comes to like, especially the first and second albums, I'm just like, oh my God, this is so cringe. Why did I play it like this? I could have done this. I could have done this. And she's like, yeah, but that was you back then. Like you didn't know what you know now. So yeah, I do listen back and I do think about all the things I can't change.
Does she have any inkling of how uncomfortable that is for you?
Yes, and she will, especially the songs that I sang on, she will play those on purpose. I'll just be sitting there just like, oh my God, I want to make it stop. But I mean, it's in a sense, it's a good thing because like they're little time capsules. Each album is its own time capsule and each single is its own time capsule. And the only way that it can go from there is up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's really nice to, and this goes for any artist. It's nice to see their progression, throughout the years.
And so what do you notice as you listen back, like specifically? Is there like one thing or is it just the whole package of?
It's the whole package, every little thing. Even just to the way that I played a certain note. Like, I think for my first album, I used Alaska picks on my index and middle. Yeah. And now I think, why didn't I just grow out my nail? Like, those picks sound terrible on an ukulele. But that's what my style was at the time, and yeah, I just got to be okay with it.
Alaska picks, that's old school.
Yeah.
Does anybody even use those anymore?
Yes, somebody, John Yamasato uses Alaska picks.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
I was just talking to him about that. Yeah,
that's right.
But aside from him, nobody. I know David wore Alaska picks early on, but he doesn't use those now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one who listens back.
No, here's the thing too about being on the production side, being a performer and a recording artist, and being a recording artist recording themselves. So this is where I need to have my circle listen to my stuff. My circle includes of course my girlfriend, my family, and other musicians who I know are better than I am. I'd want them to listen to my stuff and I want them to tell me, okay, this sounds really good, you're done. Because if nobody tells me that I'm done, it's not going to be done. I'll listen back to it and I'll think, okay, I need to change this, I need to change this, and then I'll think it's done and I'll listen to it again, and it's just never ending. And that's the downside to being on the other side of the recording studio.
Right.
Yeah, so it's really a balance that you need to find in order to be okay with how you play it. And there's a lot of beauty in the imperfections, and I truly believe that.
So how do you approach recording these days? Like, you have at your fingertips with Logic as many takes as you want. Do you force yourself or to like, that's it, that was pretty good, it's good enough? Or I feel like if it's a take that, I feel like it's hard to be 100% perfect, like no string noise, it's going to be 100%. I want to get it as close as possible to that. But if there's one little part of it that I can fix in the computer, that makes more sense than having to redo the entire take. Right.
So like if say one note is a little bit off, like let's say I bent the 4th fret on the E string a little bit too much when I passed over it and it's a little bit sharp, I want to go in Melodyne and I'm going to fix that note. So I don't have to redo it just because of that one note.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're hearing little things.
Real little things, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Cool. Well, yeah, that's like the game, especially these days, is or not recording on tape, and that's not just, well, that was good enough.
Yeah. So fun fact, my first 2 albums, I don't remember what songs they were, but I did some songs on tape.
Oh, you did?
I did, yeah.
Where was that at? That was running tape?
The first album was recorded at, what was it called? I can't remember off the top of my head, but Rick Kiefer owned a studio down in Leilani Estates. And so it was recorded there. And then the second album I recorded over at Wendell Ching's studio on Oahu. And so, yeah, I remember recording on tape for a few songs on both albums.
Was that intentional? Like,
yeah, it was intentional, because when you record on tape, it's just so much warmer than, well, at least at the time, it was a lot warmer than recording digitally. And now there are so many plugins and different processors and preamps that you can send it through that have almost as much warmth as, analog.
So you're willing to make the trade?
I'm willing to make the trade, yes.
You have made the trade.
This is my ukulele's second trip. Yeah.
On a plane?
Yeah. The first was to Seattle in August, end of August, I think it was, to play for Amazon.
Amazon?
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos hired you.
Not directly, but we played in the space that he gives his talks.
Oh.
It's called the Spheres. It's in downtown Seattle, and it's basically just like sphere-shaped buildings, and inside are all native and indigenous plants. So it's a climate-controlled area.
Wow.
And there's misting devices to help everything stay moisturized, and it's like 80 degrees the entire time in there.
And how did you get hooked up with Amazon?
I actually played, that one was a trip with Chardonnay and my friend Ukulele. She's in Hilo. She's also a vocalist. So we went up there and we did a couple songs for their Indigenous Employees event.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. You find even with new strings that there's times when they don't tune?
Yeah.
Why is that? Does anybody know?
I've noticed that if my uke is adjusting, in the adjusting process from one climate to another, that's when the strings won't tune.
But here, you know how when they're old, they don't sound right. They don't ever sound in tune. I find that even with new strings, sometimes there's a phase where it'll it's not in tune, or my ears are out of whack or something.
Thank you.
Is that an original?
No, that's Ocean Eyes by Billie Eilish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once again, I'm out of touch.
It's all good. I think Billie Eilish is such a fantastic songwriter, and she works with her brother Phineas on her stuff, and yeah, just the two of them together is crazy.
Well, the way you've got it arranged and put together, it really fits well.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, it feels like you could have written that.
I wish I did, but thank you.
Yeah. So how did you end up with the Kanilea?
Okay, so funny story. I was doing Craig and Sarah's backyard concert, filmed it in February, and just so happened all of my gear that day, including my uke, decided to stop working. And so Sarah was like, here, do you want to borrow ours? I'm like, yeah, okay. I brought 2 ukuleles because I was playing a couple songs with Hawaiʻi. And so she let me borrow one of their ukes, their signature model. And as soon as I picked it up, I was like, wow, this is so comfortable. Like, what even is this? So it was that night, I want to say around midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't stop thinking about their uke all day. So that night, this was when Lena Girl was still with the company. So I sent her a message because I knew she was the artist rep. And I said, hey, are you guys, looking for artists? And she said, please say it's you, please say it's you. And I'm like, yes, it's me. So from then on, it was, the rest is history.
So what are you doing with Hawaiʻi?
Just goofing around. I'm still very much a low G player. But Hawaiʻi is fun to do those sort of campanella style, things. Having that little extra, one of the runs that I really like is, oops. I think it was this one. Oh my God. I can't do a high G there and then do that. So I'd have to fret it. But having that second, or that third, note would be that, have that harmonic picking sound. It doesn't really add to the flow of it, Yeah. And then I can just do that, but not really with the low G. Yeah.
Nice. Well, that's super interesting because I always thought you were just low G all the way.
I was until COVID, I think. That's when I just dropped the high G on one of my ukes and started playing around with it.
Are those Joel strings?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love uke logic strings. I use the hard tensions on my low G stage uke, my Kanilea, and I use the high G soft tension on my practice ukes.
Cool.
Yeah, that was like a vacation for my strings, or for my fingers. Yeah.
Nice. But you play everything still. Is that the case? Guitar and bass?
I do play guitar, bass, and drums, and keys, and piano. So all things that I still regularly play. I do want to eventually expand my instrument repertoire. So I'm not too sure what I'd pick up next, but it'd most likely have to be not an annoying instrument.
Because
I don't think anybody wants to listen to Brittni play French horn all day, because I've already tried that. Trumpet and French horn, they're fun, but got lots of complaints. So, yeah.
Okay. We'll have to crowdsource that one for you.
Yes. If you guys have an idea of what I should play, shoot Brad a message and he'll let me know the poll results.
Google form.
Yes.
Cool. Anything else you want to share?
I don't know. I think I just want to thank everyone for supporting my career, over the years, and for continuing to support. And there's lots of music that I have that I'm going to be putting out, and lots of songs that I'm writing, taking the ukulele to even new levels, higher levels than I've taken it before. So, yeah, I'm really excited for everyone to hear the new stuff, and I hope everyone likes it as much as I do.
Is this going to be full album kind of thing, or are we doing singles?
I'm probably going to just drop singles at a time. it feels like less pressure that way, than doing a whole album all at once. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Want to thank Brittni again for taking the time to do our interview. It was kind of late, definitely past my bedtime, but she says she's a night owl, so really appreciate the time. And hope you folks enjoyed listening. It was a great excuse to kind of catch up and talk story. And, I never really have had a chance to sit down and talk to Brittni kind of uninterrupted. There's always been something else going on whenever we've talked in the past. So this was lovely. Super appreciate it. And you can find Brittni at brittnipaiva.com. Go join her mailing list so you can keep up to date with the new stuff that's going on. And then if you're on social media, she's on YouTube. And then on TikTok and Instagram, she posts a lot of reels and shorts and whatever they're called. But like mini song clips and lesson tutorials and things that kind of flash, flip, flash, whatever. I don't know, you swipe or something and you swipe to the next video. I don't know. I'm not on any of those, but she is at I am Brittni Paiva. That's her handle. So go give a follow, give a like, share, all that good stuff, because Brittni is one of Hawaiʻi's gym ukulele players and just a real treat of a person to hang out with. So all good stuff. Thanks again, Brittni. You're tuned in to the Live Ukulele podcast. My name is Brad Bordessa. This is our opening episode. It's not the pilot because we're in the 5th season, but if it was the 1st season, it would be the pilot. First episode of season 5. Thanks for joining in. I've got some stuff in the hopper that is coming up. Very exciting. I've got an interview with Craig Chi and Sarah Mizell. Also sat down with my good friend Hualalai Keohuloa, who is somebody that I would be surprised if anybody listening to the podcast has ever heard of. But he's kind of a underground local legend musician. We've been super tight friends for years and years and years. He actually kind of taught me how to record before I ever went off to college to learn it the real way. We were just like in his bedroom, we're working on recordings. All that will come out in that episode. But got some fun stuff cooking up and hope you will return. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your dog, tell your ukulele club. And I'll be back here on the 1st and 3rd Saturdays of every month this year up through, usually take a break in at the end of October. But that's a full 20 episodes plus bonus episodes. Wow. Anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be well out there. Keep on jamming. Hui ho.